Responsibilities of a coach. Legal obligations. Coaches need to be aware of their legal responsibilities, especially with respect to the advice they give to players and the way they manage and supervise participation in sport. Sports bodies need to take measures for duty of care and safeguarding children, as there are often more issues surrounding children. For example, in December 2016, there were 350 child sexual abuse victims within UK football clubs. There are organisations that are set out to prevent this. An example of a system that protects children in sport is DBS checks. This is a general background check that checks for any criminal records and ensures you're eligible to work with children. Duty of care and child protection. You have a duty to care for the person you're coaching. This is also known as loco parentis. This care might include having an emergency contact in their medical history to ensure that you can take the right precautions to maintain maximal safety. Every club has to have a designated child protection officer that coordinates training in safeguarding for coaches. If a coach is told information that puts their client in danger, they have to tell their nominated child protection officer. This child protection officer ensures that there is no negligence towards the child. Negligence includes sexual, physical, emotional, and verbal abuse. Insurance. Insurance is an arrangement by which a company or the state undertakes to provide a guarantee of compensation for specified loss, damage, illness, or death in return for payment of a specified premium. There are 3 types of insurance that affect a coach. These are public liability, employer's liability, and business equipment insurance. Public liability covers compensation claims against your club or business if a client or member of the public is injured or their property is damaged. For example, in hockey, if the performer you're training is hit in the leg by a hockey stick, public liability insurance covers the cost of any medical compensation. Employer's liability insurance protects the employer from compensation claims from employees about injury or illness. For example, if a rugby coach was injured in demonstrating during training, the club has the compensation covered by this insurance. Business equipment insurance covers the cost of damage or loss of equipment that you use in your training session. Business equipment insurance varies in importance depending on the sport. For example, the cost of repairing a trampoline is a lot more than the cost of replacing some tennis balls. Health and safety. Health and safety is the regulations and procedures intended to prevent accident or injury. This means the coach is responsible for preventing dangers to the athlete. One way a coach can prevent accident or injury to their players is planning their session. This might include plans of the equipment you wish to use, how you'll use the space you have, the content and activities of the session, and the participants. This might also be considered a risk assessment, as it would decrease the likeliness of injury by ensuring you have responses to any potential risks because you've planned it. Another way the coach can prevent accidents is by warming up and cooling down. A warm-up warms your muscles, which promotes the reactions used during exercise and makes the muscles more supple, preparing your muscles for stretching when they contract and relax in each movement. Cooling down after your workout allows for a gradual recovery of pre-exercise heart rate and blood pressure. After a session, the coach should always evaluate and assess if any adjustments should be made to their risk assessment. The coach could also do a jewellery check to prevent it cutting or catching someone, or they could take a register to ensure that every participant arrives safely. Coaches have an obligation to have the right qualifications such as first aid and to only give advice within their professional knowledge of the sport. This prevents them making injuries worse or getting the performer to use the wrong technique. For example, if a tennis coach didn't have first aid qualifications and their client had a slight discomfort in their knee, the coach might advise them to continue, making the injury worse. Equal opportunity. Equal opportunity relates to diversity in sport. It ensures that people of different race, religion, gender, sexuality, socio-economic status, body shape, and ability have the same opportunities and treatment in sport. For example, a basketball coach can adapt basketball to wheelchair basketball to ensure that people with a disability that affects their ability to walk or run have an opportunity to participate too. Although equal opportunity is widely encouraged, there are still cases where sports fail to have equality in sport. For example, in football, the different leagues receive differing finances, which in turn means the teams in different leagues have different opportunities as to what equipment they can buy to help their team. A team like Manchester City in the Premier League will be able to buy better equipment than Championship's Aston Villa as they get more money, meaning Manchester City's players have a better opportunity to succeed. Much like the differing finances between men's football and women's football. National governing bodies and clubs set rules regarding equal opportunities that coaches and players must follow. This includes abiding by the Equality Act of 2010, which protects individuals from unfair treatment and promotes a fair and more equal society. The coach also has to ignore stereotypes and treat everyone without prejudice. They have to ensure they don't perpetuate any form of discrimination.